5 kilometers from Chennai along National Highway. SriCity is connected to the major metros of India through the Golden Quadrilateral Highway network. SriCity is well connected to 2 international airports and 4 seaports, all within a 100-kilometer radius. A broad gauge railway line runs alongside the national highway, adding to the connectivity options of SriCity. SriCity's industrial zone comprises of a multi-product special economic zone, a domestic tariff zone, and a free trade and warehousing zone. The automotive cluster in SriCity includes Isuzu, Daiki, NHK Springs. And SriCity is also home to other Japanese majors like Toray, THK and Panasonic, to name a few. SriCity's electronics manufacturing cluster is fully approved by the Government of India as per the EMC scheme of 2012. Production Link Incentives (PLI) are also applicable for manufacturing items. Foxconn, the world's largest electronics manufacturer, and a host of other companies are operational within SriCity's EMC. More than 50,000 skilled and semi-skilled people currently work in SriCity. Apart from Isuzu and Foxconn, other conglomerates that employ a large workforce are FMCG giants Colgate-Palmolive and Unicharm, food and beverage majors such as PepsiCo, Cadbury, Kellogg's, Lavazza, Tata Foods and others, and industrial MNCs such as Kobelco, Alstom, Ball Corporation, Thermax and Metal One. To jumpstart operations efficiently, a dedicated 130,000 square feet business centre with all modern facilities is available. Ready-built factories are available for immediate start of operations. Companies whose requirements are more specific can avail built-to-suit options. Fully supported by the state and central governments, single-desk 21-day approval window is available for all units in SriCity, along with a multitude of operational benefits. SriCity's state-of-the-art infrastructure has been designed by world-renowned urban infrastructure experts. The robust internal road network facilitates easy access through IRC standard primary, secondary and tertiary roads. Major telecom operators have set up high-speed 3G and 4G networks across the city. An extensive fiber optic network also covers SriCity. 450 megawatts of power has been allotted by the government of Andhra Pradesh for SriCity, enabling 24/7 electricity. The comprehensive water supply infrastructure consists of multiple reservoirs, pumping stations and supply networks. The sewerage network is connected to modern sewage treatment plants, and recycled water is reused for specific purposes. The stormwater drainage network runs throughout SriCity, channeling rainwater to the reservoirs. Over 1 million trees have already been planted and over 10 million will be planted. A variety of options for long and short duration stays are available at SriCity. Fresh and sumptuous culinary treats are on offer. The medical centre encompasses a general care facility operated by Kaveri Hospital, which includes an emergency and trauma care centre, a children's specialty clinic and a specialist eye care facility operated by Shankara Netralaya. SriCity has dedicated 500 acres for catering to the educational needs of the entire region, with a dedicated education zone. Chinmaya Vidyalaya, the renowned CBSE school, is operational within this education zone, and Accord School, a co-educational day boarding school. Also operational are Indian Institute of Information Technology, a premier engineering and research institute, Kriya University, a pioneering educational institution that houses the undergraduate school of interwoven arts and sciences, and the IFMR Graduate School of Business. We welcome you to experience the world-class business environment of SriCity. We invite you to be a part of India's best integrated city union bank. It all started in 1904 in the bustling town of Kumbakonam, where people invested not just their money but also their trust. and the Kumbakonam Bank Limited was born. The bank was included in the second schedule to the Reserve Bank of India Act. In 1954, the bank celebrated its Golden Jubilee. In 1979, the bank celebrated its Platinum Jubilee, completing 75 momentous years. In 1980, Shri V. Narayanan assumed office as Chairman and Chief Executive Officer. In 1987, the bank's name was changed to City Union Bank Limited, in keeping with its growing national image. From a humble beginning in 1904, the bank's deposits grew to 2,317 crore rupees. For 100 years, City Union Bank had continuously changed lives for the better by constantly updating itself, by keeping pace with the changing times, and using technology to enhance the quality of customer service. By 2004, over 96% of its branches were computerized. In the early 2000s, City Union Bank was also the first in India to introduce quads. After the untimely passing away of Shri V. Narayanan in November 2004, Shri S. Balasubramanian
Good evening, everyone. I hope everyone's having a good day so far. So, we want to invite all the guests who have arrived for the Y20 speech to please come onto the stage. We request our volunteers to please escort them onto the stage. We would like to request our student council members, please present the bouquets to the guests. Firstly, we have Dr. V. Kamakoti. We request Sai Kiran Reddy, President of our Student Life Council, to please present the bouquet.
Next we have Srimati Shiva Shankar. I request Shri Shivani, President Student Development Council, to please present the bouquet. Next we have Sandeepa Gunt Reddy. I request Vishnupriya Thamana, Secretary Student Life Council, to present the bouquet.
Next we have Niveda Karthipan. I would request Satvika Bandi, of the Secretary of our Student Life Council, to please present the bouquet.
The G20 or Group of 20 is an intergovernmental forum working to address major issues related to the global economy, such as international financial stability, climate change mitigation, and sustainable development. U20, Y20 is an official consultation firm for youth from all G20 member countries to be able to dialogue with each other. Since the audience here mainly consists of today's youth, our college is hosting this Y20 event as a learning opportunity for everyone. We have with us several esteemed speakers to discuss various issues.
Firstly, we have Niveda Karthipan, who is a young and passionate student activist recognized for her dedication to make a positive impact on the environment. She holds a bachelor degree in biotechnology from VIT University and has represented India twice in the Y20 Summit, an international forum for youth leaders. Niveda was a delegate for the Sustainable and Livable
Excellence Award and IITM Young Faculty Recognition Award. We are honored to have you, sir. I request you to come to the podium to speak.
Good evening. Good evening, guys. Very happy to be at SriCity. This is my first visit. I see a very enthusiastic crowd here. So I'd like to keep this conversation a dialogue rather than a monologue. Friends, G20 has come at the right time when India is celebrating her 75th year of independence. And we are now moving to the next 25 years, which our Honorable Prime Minister says is the Amrit Kal. 1947, friends, we got social and political independence. But what COVID has taught us is that we are still dependent on many critical technologies. Technologies that would be extremely important for our day-to-day living, that too with this mass digitalization that we are seeing now all around. There is a need for us to innovate. There is a need for us to become entrepreneurs. There is a need for us to become employers rather than employees. Develop technologies in India, patent it in India, protect the technology in India that is of global relevance, and that is alone will make us a technology superpower by 2047. I want to ask you, who is going to do it? It's a student crowd, I can't even... Who is going to do it? You or me? All of us, right? So we have to work very, very, very hard to make our country a technology superpower by 2047. Friends, G20 has come at a time where we are in a position to articulate many things. Articulate about education, articulate about youth. Why India can articulate about youth? In the age group of 15 to 35, we have the largest population in the world. And that is why we can articulate about youth. We have several challenges in front of us. The first one being that we need to improve our gross enrollment ratio. The number of students, number of kids who come to the higher education, number of students who cross the 8th standard barrier and come to 9th. Take up higher education. We currently, our GER across the country is 26%, and we have to work very hard to bring it at least to 50 and over to 70. This is the time, friends, that we need to really bring in a lot more of thought process into our education system. In this cusp, if we miss next 10 years, we will have, of course, a very youthful country, but might become the most uneducated country. So we have a very, very important target in front of us that we need to make our education system much stronger. To this effect, the National Education Policy 2020 has laid down several interesting concepts. I would request all the youth here, please go and read the National Education Policy, understand what it means, and start contributing towards the National Education Policy goals. One request I have today, that I am meeting the youth. Everybody will have some route to some village. Your grandfather, great-grandfather, or yourself will have a village, and that village will have a school. Go to that school, make it a point to visit to that school. Try to bring at least 10 kids from your village to IIIT, your college, IIIT SriCity or whichever college. introduced to this environment, motivate them to take up higher education. I think that is very, very important. Will you all do? Thank you. The next important aspect that I want to touch here is about Atmanirbharta. The notion that we need to solve problems. If you solve problem for India with 140 crore population, it automatically implies that we are solving some problem for the world. The first example is vaccine. When the western part of the world had a vaccine that could work at 8 degrees centigrade, they stopped the development because it worked for them. But when you look at India, we have places varying with 2 degrees centigrade to 47 degrees centigrade. We had a need to develop vaccine that works at a higher rate of temperature. We did develop that vaccine, not one but two. Friends, as per the latest news, we have given 240 crores of those to our people. Not only that, we exported this vaccine to the other countries, and that is India. Every one of us should be proud that we are an Indian. For the first time in the history of 5G, many of you would be using 4G phones, and very quickly, I am sure you are going to migrate to 5G. Last 35 years of existence of telecommunication standards, the first time in the history, India has her own standard in the 3GPP, the third generation project partnership. The 5G phones that you are going to use will have the Indian standard there. And what it means, every phone that is going to be sold across the world must pay a royalty back to India. This is what the power of intellectual property protection means. I urge all of you that whatever invention that you try to do today, please get it patented. Patented at least in our country. There were days that you need to spend 40,000 rupees for filing a patent. And it takes 8 to 10 years sometimes to get that patent released. Today, friends, the cost of filing a patent in our country is 1,800 rupees. And if you pay 4,000 more rupees extra, that's for the expedition clause, your patent decision will be made known in 1.5 years, 18 months. I want all of you, every project that comes out of every institution, try to protect that idea, have your own patent lawyers. I'm sure every college has their patent cell. Unless we protect our ideas, it is impossible for us to lead the nation. The 5G, I just stated this as an example because 5G, today 5G standard essentially puts us into the global map. The last one I want to basically impress upon all of you is interdisciplinary education. Today if I say I am a computer scientist, it means nothing. We need to have this system level thinking. I am sure every institution is aspiring to do that. You need to start looking at a problem in different dimensions. You should develop a product, you should develop a system that works, that solves problem at scale. So every opportunity that you get, try to learn about other disciplines. In IIIT, I heard that you have 2 disciplines, ECE and computer science. Every project that you do, final year project, must have an ECE student and a computer science student together trying to solve a problem. I think, and you have a lot of industries around here, please visit all these industries and also try to get inspiration from how they are using and how you can be of some great help to them. With the Industry 4.0 coming up, today we need this interdisciplinary approach to education, and every one of you must look at interdisciplinary education. The Sustainable Development Goals 1 to 17 of the United Nations essentially is very, very important because down the line, 10 years down the line, if you want a successful, if you want a stable job, if you want to run a business that can sustain, or that can attract a lot more of funding, that will be more relevant, those business or those jobs must be aligned to the Sustainable Development Goals 1 to 17. There are 17 Sustainable Development Goals prescribed by the United Nations. In the G20, we have been insisting on, from an educational institute's perspective, we have been insisting on the SDG 4, the Sustainable Development Goal 4, which talks about equitable, affordable access to quality education at scale. Friends, I request all of you to go and have a very deep understanding of the Sustainable Development Goals 1 to 17, and that is going to make the world we talk of in the G20, Vasudhaiva Kudambakam. It means one future, one family, one world, and that is going to be fully enabled by the Sustainable Development Goals. If you even go to a bank today and ask for a loan, they ask for something called an ESG, where E stands for environment. A bank's stability of a financial institution is going to be assessed by how many environmental friendly projects that they have funded. So this is the importance today that the world is insisting on the Sustainable Development Goals, and I'm sure all of you must get into that part of it, understand SDG, and have a great future. I'm very excited to be part of this function today. Thank you very much for inviting me, and I wish all of you great success, and let us all make India proud. 2047, India number one. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Your speech was very awakening. I think a lot of us as students of IIIT, we might feel a lot privileged that we have this sort of education. We might not realize the importance of this education. I think, sir, you have brought forth this point, and I think a lot of students have realized how important this education and how important sustainable development is. Thank you, sir. Next, we have Srimati Shivashankar ma'am. Srimati Shivashankar is a corporate vice president and global head EdTech business at HCL Technologies. She was the key architect of the HCL Foundation and HCL at various international forums such as UN, World Investment Forum and NASCOM, with a focus on leadership, human capital management through diversity and inclusion, and sustainability. She is a true believer in knocking the tea off the can. We are honored to have you, ma'am. We request you to come to the podium.
Good evening. I can't hear you at all. Oh, that sounds much better. At least I know Dr. Kanabiran because I studied in IIIT Trichy. But nowhere in any of the conversation or my introduction shows that I'm an engineer. Truly, after a few years, sir, education just vanishes. It's only the recent past what you have done actually surfaces. Though you try to actually put one paragraph in LinkedIn, our education gets missed. And that's truly very important point that I want to bring here today. As youngsters, you're all getting educated. But I can tell you, once you come into the workforce, none of us know where you're from. We don't know whether you're from IIIT or from IIT or from Gramodyag school or someone who has not done any formative education. We want to see what you contribute, how you transform the world, how you transform the work environment, and what is your contribution. When I was just walking down the aisle here, I checked with some of your friends. Tell me what I should not talk today. So they just laughed and said, Madam, we have not thought of it. But talk something that will be of interest to us. So I said, can I tell you stories? And they said, yeah. share some stories with us. The title that's been given to me is about innovation. And I want to talk about some of the few things that has come from youth like you into a larger workplaces and how it has helped us to keep our innovations going. Years ago, when I joined HCL, there was nothing called HCL Foundation. And I wanted to set up one. And I wanted to go to the board and ask for money. So the first thing I did was to go to some youngsters who are my community volunteers. I got them into a room and I asked, how do we get it started? The idea that came out of this conversation is called the power of one. Youngsters like you in the room, they were all fresh engineers from different colleges. They told me, ma'am, can we all contribute 1 rupee a day? And we almost have about 120,000 employees in HCL. It was then. It's going to make 120,000 rupees a day. That's about a good way for us to start with the 36 lakhs a month, which would probably become a good 3.5 crores a year. It was their ask. Of course, today you will say this is all crowdfunding, crowdsourcing of ideas. I mean, these are all like names, but end of the day, it was a grassroots innovation. Today, more and more organizations, we want to invert the pyramid. You're all going to be young engineers joining various companies very soon. Go and ask your interviewer, are you going to invert the pyramid? Will we get an opportunity to contribute towards the growth, towards the nation's growth, towards the community growth? Can we make a positive impact on the environment? The more you ask, that's exactly where the innovation begins. I'm extremely sorry to say that in a room full of 1,000 students, I always have only 2 questions. Not more than 2 people actually ask questions. If that status quo is not going to change, I don't think so, Dr. Kamakoti, we can ever talk about innovation. The power of asking questions is most important in the ChatGPT world. ChatGPT is getting intelligent because you are asking questions. But if you want to be ChatGPT, you need to know how to actually structure questions to beat ChatGPT for an interview. If I'm going to give you a code test and you want to crack ChatGPT and you do better, unless you know how to structure your questions, your probing skills, it's very, very important that you start really looking at it real deep, the way that you need to structure your questions. India culture is always a tell culture. We keep telling people. We never allow people to ask. That's exactly where the last 200 years we have lost, because we somehow lost it under the British regime. And post the British regime, it's taken years for us to collect together and make a change. We've always been telling people what to do. We never ask people what we should do. I think youth here should change that. You should ask more questions, whether it's your university or whether you come into a workplace or you meet a politician. A good governance starts only when you ask questions. So that's one of my second requests and suggestions that I have here. The third suggestion that I have here is sometimes as to how you look at a problem and come with a solution. So I have a small story to say. 20 years back, I moved to Chennai. And I bought the first I bought a washing machine which is a front loader, IFB, the first washing machine with the front loader facility in India, which came 20 years back. So when I went to buy that washing machine, the guy at the retailer asked me, "Ma'am, why are you going for a front loader? Many top loaders are they're doing very well and will give you 30% discount." Having come from US, we're so used to front loaders because I know for sure I can put the shoes also inside and it will get washed well. So I said I'm going for a front loader. So after about 3 or 4 months, The machine somehow was very cranky. It was not cleaning well. It was getting stuck. The drum was making noise. All I did was to call up IFB, and promptly I had someone neatly cladded uniform in blue and navy blue coming and asking me, "Ma'am, what is the problem?" So I tell him, "Look, the water is not coming in properly. Sometimes the water is not coming in with force. The drum tumbling is not good because of that. The dirt is not going away." And this guy actually quietly nodded. He came and said, "Ma'am, I'm just going to do a descaling. I'm going to go and fix some valve in the drum, this and that." And he went back. Exactly after 25 days, the same problems surfaced. I called, the same guy came. Nothing happened. Again after 25 days I called him and he didn't turn up because he was tired of looking at me. But instead he actually sent a technician who came in a brown and brown and not in the blues. He was in the brown, khaki and khaki. A floor man in IFB. He came with his spanners, tools and cloth, everything. So I asked him, "Please tell me what is the problem. I have 2 kids. I'm a working mom. I'm not able to, get these clothes. It's dirty. The water is just not coming." He told me to sit aside and he said, "Ma'am, just relax. I know about these machines." Exactly in 15 minutes, he comes to me and says, "Ma'am, your washing machine is fantastic. Don't spend any money. The real problem in this washing machine is outside the washing machine. You are living in an area in Chennai where you have a lot of water with a very high salt. It's mucky. It is actually stopping your clothes getting washed well." And he just came and put the filter outside. This was 20 years back. It was not done by an engineer. It was done by a technician. Why I'm saying this is, many times where you seek for a problem and you want to come up with an idea, and you also go and participate in getting funding, and the person who needs to give you fund asks what problem you are trying to solve, you may actually state the wrong problem, because the problem will be outside the problem and not the problem that you see. That's exactly where, when Professor Kamakoti talked about the intersection and interdisciplinary of thoughts and departments, they are really, really needed today. I get a lot of IT engineers, computer science engineers, but we spend a lot of time retraining all of you because fundamentally your maths is weak. Many times the problem solving and analytical capability becomes a concern. Therefore, my request is invest in yourself today. Be the change. Bring the change. Because unfortunately my generation is leaving behind a lot of muck. We were greedy for our dollars, but you need to be greedy for good. So there's a lot of responsibility that you have, and therefore this Y20 movement, in my view, is going to bring a big, big transformation. So I wish you loads of luck. Keep smiling. Walk with a smile. Change everything that you believe needs to be changed. But do it by asking questions. Fear no one, because I know you're the best in this room. All the best.
Ma'am, I sincerely apologize for the introduction because education is important. So I would like to introduce her by her education once again. Srimati ma'am holds an engineering degree from National Institute of Technology, Tiruchirappalli, which has recognized her accomplishments through the Distinguished Alumni Award and an MBA in International Business Management from Ohio University. And I promise you that I'll be greedy for good. Also, now we have Krishnan Raman sir. Krishnan Raman is co-founder and CEO at Futura, an industrial AI solutions company focused on driving 3 core businesses: outcomes of asset uptime, operational efficiency, and net zero. Through its AI platform, Cerebra, tuned for IoT and oil and gas, specialty chemicals, and heavy machinery industries. Recently, Accenture announced its intent to acquire Futura to boost its industrial AI services. Futura was ranked number 1 in the world of customers in a Voice of Customer report by Grant. Krishna founded Atma Consulting, a vertical service provider delivering process automation solutions to auto ancillary companies. We are honored to have you, sir. I would like to welcome you to the podium.
Can I have the hand mic? Hello. Hey guys, actually we need some action out here. Okay. How many of you are actually below 25? You need to raise your hands. No, including people sitting in the podium. See, the reason why I asked you this is, yesterday evening, I was kind of going ahead and packing to start the trip. And my 17-year-old son asked, hey, what are you doing? So I said, I am going to SriCity. What is SriCity? So I said, actually, you find out. He is from one of those chat GPT generations. So 20 minutes later, he came in and actually asked me a question, saying that, okay, I understand, actually, I found out saying that you are speaking at an event. But what are you going to talk about, actually, youth? In fact, actually, what he said is, why are you calling all oldies to talk about actually what we should be doing? That's a statement actually that he said. And the reason why I asked actually people in the podium to go ahead and raise the hand is exactly that. Ideally, many of you should be out here going ahead and looking at it in terms of actually raising the voice. Let me quickly give you a few themes which I just want to go ahead and actually share with you. First theme, ChatGPT generation. How many of you know about refineries? I am going to go ahead and actually give you guys exercise. How many of you know about it in terms of actually refineries? You need to raise your hands. Do you guys know what a refinery is? No. Okay. So if you have actually crude oil and end of the day it has to come out as actually gasoline to your car or a diesel to your truck, then refineries are the one actually which are going ahead and doing it. When I first started actually visiting refineries, I used to find people who used to say, 36 years I have been in this refinery. 36 years, so you can imagine. There are people who will come in and say, put their hand on top of actually a motor and say, the left bearing is actually going to vibrating, because of which actually it can fail in another 1 month's time. Can you imagine with innovation what happened? Post-COVID, post-2020, when I revisited that particular refinery, it was my privilege to see that the process engineer who was going ahead and running that refinery at that point in time was a 2.5-year-old out of college kid. We are talking about things which are humanly possible. Each one of you have to start thinking about it in terms of actually how you can go ahead and look at it in terms of actually making things happen. In fact, whatever Srimati was talking about in terms of actually identifying the right problem is going to be a very, very important thing. Okay. Now let me actually get back and actually ask one more question. Who likes surprise tests? Lift. Hands. Don't like it, right? In fact, this is the second time in my life actually Professor Kannabiram has actually gone ahead and put a surprise test on me. First, when I visited NIT, he said actually you are going to go ahead and actually generally meet some students. And when I walked in, there were 300 of them, and he said you are going to go ahead and actually take a training on data analytics. At that point in time, it was data analytics. It was not data science. Today again, he said actually it's going to be a panel discussion. And as soon as it was a panel discussion, I was very comfortable saying that actually somebody will sit and ask questions, and then I will go ahead and actually answer. But then it was again another surprise test for all of us sitting in the podium out here actually, which was thrown by Professor Kannabiram. Let me touch upon actually a second topic. So first one was actually in terms of chat GPT generation. You guys are capable. But if you guys remain silent, like Srimati put it, if you can't get 2 questions out of a 1,000-member audience, then shame on you guys. You guys should think about it in terms of how you are going to go ahead and look at it, and you guys are capable. Let me give you actually an inspirational story. My co-founder, he talks about it as actually Jayanagar to the world. Okay? Let me ask you this question. Which is the world's most valuable organization today? How many of you know it? Raise your hands. How many of you know which is the world's most valuable organization? In fact, think about it as actually even in terms of in the stock markets. Which is the world's most valuable organization? No idea? I would have thought many of you would have jumped in and said Apple. Because Apple actually runs into trillions of dollars of valuation when it comes in terms of the valuable others. But as on today, the world's most valuable organization is Aramco. Saudi Aramco, which supplies oil to the world, is the world's most valuable organization. And can you imagine where the first digital solution was successfully deployed and scaled came from? It came from Jayanagar. Because they went ahead and looked at it in terms of actually evaluating multiple organizations to be able to go ahead and look at it in terms of actually provide a sustainable digital solution where, just like I said, somebody does not have to keep the hand on top of the motor to be able to say the bearing is failing. Because each one of those motors have actually multiples of sensors. And for you to be able to go ahead and look at it in terms of actually making that detection using advanced AI. And that came from Jayanagar. In fact, briefly in the introduction, they talked about it in terms of this. Any idea which is the world's most valuable technology services, technology solutions organization? Accenture. Now, why does Accenture have to come to Jayanagar to be able to go ahead and look at it in terms of actually taking in a company and use it as actually a prime mover to drive their global revenues? The answer is one and one alone, which is innovation. You need to think about it in terms of innovation. So if all of you guys don't wake up every day thinking about, as what Srimati talked about, as actually thinking about the problem that you're going to solve, or if you don't wake up, like what Professor Kamkoti actually mentioned, which is in terms of actually cross-functional ability to be able to solve, it's very difficult actually for you to go ahead and actually make a mark in this world. Think about it. You guys are actually too privileged to be in a place where all of these benefits are available. You don't actually fall into our generation. You guys are advanced. It's like actually what I call as actually the Intel chips. So if you really look into it, you guys are actually quad cores or octa cores, and not in terms of actually the single cores that actually we used to have. So put that to good use and look at it in terms of how you can go ahead and actually do many things. Even when I say innovation, especially in AI, please do think about it in terms of actually as responsible innovation. The reason why I'm actually kind of touching on this particular topic is primarily because of the fact today, the power that you have in your hands, you cannot imagine. I talked about the positive side, where a 2-year-old, 2.5-year-old process engineering is running the plant today. It's possible. But at the same time, the drone that is actually flying out there, if that can actually be compromised in terms of actually the action or what action that it has to take, it can actually result in problems. So you have to do it. You have to do it. Again, ChatGPT, you can actually use it in terms of actually plagiarizing your assignment. End of the day, it is up to you guys in terms of actually where you and how you want to use it. Use it responsibly. 3 messages, just wanted to leave you there. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I think we learned a lot from that. You revealed a lot of facts that we didn't know about, like Aramco and all that. And I think from today onwards, all of us will try to use more of our cores, our octa cores and penta cores. Okay, so on to the next speaker. We have Sandeepa Guntreddy. She's an accomplished professional who has worked for more than 10 years in developing and managing digital financial products. Alongside her successful corporate career, she is passionate about adventure and spirituality, having trekked in the Himalayas and studied Vedanta and yoga. Sandeepa shares her knowledge of Indian cultural heritage through her YouTube channel and has authored several books on the subject. She takes sessions on life skills, mentors adolescent girls and young adults, and aims to expand her initiative called Maitreyi throughout the country, leveraging technology. Her diverse interests and experiences reflect her commitment to personal and societal growth, making her an inspiration to many. We are delighted to have you, ma'am. Please come to the podium.
I would like to. Namaste, everyone. Namaste to all the esteemed guests. It's my privilege to share this stage with you. I'm nowhere in comparison to the amount of work that you have done here. Thanks to Kanibiran sir for this great opportunity. Like most of you, I'm also a computer science graduate from Andhra University, and then I have done my master's in finance. And here, Kanabiran sir, like a surprise test, as Krishnan sir was talking about. I thought somebody would ask me some question to which I can answer. So because it's easy that way than having a monologue here. Despite that, with that kind of a background, I have been working in IT companies creating core banking solutions or, automating banks and creating financial products for global banks for about 12 plus years. So he asked me to talk about well-being and health. So how am I qualified to talk on this topic, especially well-being and health? What makes me eligible? Somewhere I need to deserve that to be able to talk about well-being and health. So with that, let me start. About 4 years ago, I exited the corporate world after working in Polaris, after working in Infosys Technologies and Investnet Yodlee. What made me changed my decision when I was, I quit at the peak of my career when I was a senior product manager and I was asked to head the team. So at that point of time, why did I exit from that? There must be a bigger carrot than that, right? When you are paid lavishly for the little work that you do compared to the many people who slog, what is that bigger carrot that made me exit the corporate career and get into something called, spirituality, people, doing a lot of social service? What makes you do that? Let me start with that. So when I say spirituality, am I going to talk about a god or a religion? Nothing. So here I would talk about, I was trying to retrospect myself. Despite the long number of years, every year hikes, every year, promotions and things like that, somewhere I was feeling very empty about everything that I was doing. Yes, the work was challenging. I was creating a lot of products which were more challenging. But somewhere, yes, my health was good. I enjoy long walks. I enjoy treks. I enjoy traveling. I traveled across the country every year. That's kind of my passion, or rather you can call it addiction. So traveling the country or crisscrossing the nation is one of my passions. So in those journeys, I realized, somewhere I saw, am I near to the life? Am I living a life, a real life? With the hikes that am I getting, how am I using that money? I'm just upgrading my fridge. I'm upgrading my TV. I'm upgrading my comforts. Maybe I'm buying new bed sheets. Maybe I log into Myntra or an Amazon and buy more products. But when I close my eyes, do I feel complete? Somewhere I didn't feel complete. Why is it so? I wasn't feeling complete despite the high performance, being a high performance individual in the corporate career. Even then I was not feeling complete because somewhere I felt everything that I was doing it for myself. Or rather, I was doing, it's all about me and my family growth. Somewhere I'm not contributing enough to the society to the fullest of my potential. So that is where I took a very sudden decision, I need to understand where am I heading to. So that made me travel all the way to Netala, which is a Himalayan village in Uttarkashi district in the state of Uttarakhand. So I took a loss of pay for about 1.5 months, and then I joined the Shivananda International Yoga Ashram to understand what is this philosophy of life, what is this Vedanta, what is this yoga, how is that, I mean, the great history that Bharat has. How are all those people, doing such wonderful stuff? When I go to Sri Rangam temple or maybe Rameshwaram corridors, when I see those, temples in Kanchi, or, when I look at the mountains, I wonder, they are so majestic. And, there's a lot of sense of delight. It's not the work of one person. So many people have come together to do that work over a period of years or centuries. And they were so wonderful. Today, if we all have to come together to work on a certain project, it's all about, hey, am I getting the attention? Am I getting something out of it? But in those days, if people were able to do such majestic stuff, and still most of their names we don't even know. Maybe at the maximum we will know under whose rule or regime that particular temple was built or certain architecture was built. But everybody who worked on the sculptures or architecture, the kind of music that we have today, most of we don't have the names, but they have done wonderful work. Today I'm going to put my name on multiple things, update my LinkedIn. But is it anywhere? Does it match with anything with the kind of work Bharat has produced over a lot many years, in the last 15,000 years? If I were to talk about Upanishads, most of the Upanishads do not have the name of the author. Are you aware of that? So they are, the best of the knowledge available, but the person who wrote that, he never felt the need to write his name because he never felt it was different. or rather he found one with everybody, that he didn't find himself as somebody, other than everybody around him. So that's the kind of culture we come from, and here we are living very differently. Now let me talk about, how many of you saw Triple R? RRR? All of you saw? Yeah? All of you saw. So you know Bhima? Ramaraju? Okay. Right? Yeah. So when Ramaraju was hitting Bhima, what was Bhima's reaction? No, we are from Andhra and we are near to Chennai. Come on, we should at least talk about movies, if not innovation. What was his reaction? Was he smiling? Was he happy? Was he singing a song? He was singing. What is the song? Louder? Louder? Okay, Komaram Bhimudo. What made him, the first lash that he was thrashed, but with the second lash, he was smiling and he started singing a song inspiring so many. The first one, if I try to understand this, if I look at spirituality, you can look at the first one, you can say, the kind of suffering you can receive from external environment. There could be a pandemic, or there could be something, or maybe you don't get good marks, maybe you don't get a better placement, you don't get a good package. So these are all a lot of external factors. Your friends are not treating you well, or maybe your colleagues are not treating you well, things like that. These are the external things. But with the second lash, try to understand this way. What is your response? Are you reacting or are you responding? So when you are established in spirituality, after the first lash, that is not in your hands. Somebody is hitting you. But the second lash, it is a bigger pain, right? See, when you're already hitting on a wound, it is a bigger pain. So that bigger pain is what is our reaction. The moment you react, the pain is going to be higher. So how can we control that? Can we control the external circumstances? Not everything. But can we control how we react to such circumstance? Yes, we can. So you can choose to be happy. When you actually spend some time with, critical, patients with critical ailments, you truly understand the value of the life that we have. How many of us have seen unexpected deaths during COVID, just by a raise of hands? How many of us have heard or have seen unexpected deaths during COVID? So was that in our hands? Our response is definitely in our hands. So somewhere, how do we respond? When I look at if I look at Vivekananda or maybe Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, all these people, you think they didn't go through a lot of ailments? They did have a lot of ailments, but the kind of work that they delivered, how they responded to their ailments, nobody knew, right? Nobody knew, but because they always looked very blissful. Where is it coming from? Because they're established in spirituality. So when I say spirituality, it goes with Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, which is exactly the G20 theme. So G20 with Prime Minister Modi, or Bharat being the leader, handling the leadership of the G20, the theme that they're trying to promote is Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. Is it surprising for us? Because we come from a culture where we knew what it is to be one with everybody or everything around. When I look at, I think ma'am was talking about, be the change, bring the change, things like that. So have we not seen those examples in our families? When we look at our grandparents, when we look at our parents, the kind of adjustments they have done and still lived in joint families and still grew and helped everybody in their neighborhood. How are we not able to do that? When I'm in the cities, I just understand people find, one more person, you have to, they find it very difficult to accommodate one more person. But you come from a joint families. How many of you have seen a village? Just by a raise of hands. You have been to a village, right? How is their living? People help each other. They don't behave as if they belong to different, I mean, we are apart. They don't behave as if they're apart. If there is a need arises, there's always like, how may I help you? Is there something I can do for you? This is something constantly we hear. If I look at my grandfather or my father, there's only one sentence which I have been hearing all these 43 years. I am revealing my age. I only hear, what is that I can do for you? So did they read the Gita? No. Did they read the Upanishad? No. Do they know extensively about all the epics and Puranas? No. But they are established in spirituality, because the idea of spirituality is, what can I do for you? It's not what can I get from you. So can you all repeat after me? What can I do for you? Louder. So if somebody is saying health and well-being, it comes from this only one attitude. If your attitude towards life is, what can I do for you? Essentially, you will be well, because when you are in the mode of giving, there is immense happiness. The strength comes from that. So when I look at Abdul Kalam ji, I visited Rameshwaram. I went to the house of Kalam, where a lot of his museum, which was converted into a museum. When I was going through, I was just trying to see, what kind of a man is he? I mean, he's an eminent personality in every way. But if you look at the kind of impact he has created in the society, did he make riches, which he can, but he didn't. But the kind of riches that he made is more richer than all the material wealth that we're talking about. Now, Sir was talking about, can we have responsible innovation? Every innovation, I think Krishnan Sir was talking about responsible innovation. What do you mean by responsible innovation? I'll just talk about a very small, which I heard when I was reading about Kalamji. So we all know calipers, right? Calipers, especially when you're, disabled. There are polio-affected children. So they use those metal calipers so that it can help them walk. So those calipers were weighing around 4 kg. Okay, and he found that somewhere he felt these are small children and they're trying to drag and trying to do so many things with that 4 kg, holding it every day throughout the day. And he felt that there is something that he can do about it, because he's a scientist, right? All of us know that. So he's a scientist working on the defense sector. So he said, the kind of things that I send into space, or the orbits, why am I doing all of that? I'm doing that because I want the welfare. I'm doing everything for the development or the welfare of the world. So he started thinking, can I use that metal? Is there any way, as a scientist, can I bring that material to create something that can address these children or those people who are disabled and still can afford that? So that's the kind of, he actually applied. He collaborated with the medical teams, the scientists in that area, and he worked with his scientists. And then he came up with a calipers, which is just, I think, 300 grams. From 4 kg, he could build something with 300 grams, which is much more strong, lightweight, and much more affordable. The earlier calipers, which was there in the industry, was at about 4,000 rupees, which a lot of rural India could not afford. So he brought the cost at 500 rupees. So that is responsible innovation. So similarly, you will see a lot of things, when you're established, when you're saying well-being and health, how can you be happy when the air is polluted, when you create things which are going to harm the environment? I have seen so many people every day in, day out. I'm only hearing about somebody being affected by cancer. I have seen so many deaths in the last many years, last 3-4 years, it's been even more rampant. I have lost many very, very close friends, very close relatives who died of cancer, and I'm still hearing every single day. Why is it happening? It's because of our lifestyles, the kind of things that we are innovating, which is polluting, the food we eat, the things that we consume. Because you are not thinking, when you are creating something, innovating something, you are not thinking that they also belong to you. You are doing as if it is all about you, and you want to be richer. So let me say, give me a couple of, few instances. You might get the best of the packages in the world. Maybe you can grow to a certain level, the ardha and kama. You can, fulfill all your desires, and you can make the most of the money and be a billion-dollar company, no question about it. You can do all of that. But if you're not established, if you're not inclusive in the society, it will derail you. It will derail you. Let me take the instance of, Lance Armstrong. How many of us have heard Lance Armstrong, who is a cyclist? He did 7 tours to France. And later, he was, he was imprisoned, or rather, imprisoned for doping. So he was taking banned drugs, PEDs. So the entire career, for a very long time, he is the #1 cyclist. He enjoyed the fame, he enjoyed the reputation, he enjoyed all the wealth that came with all his abilities. But when he is not integrated, there's no integrity in the person, because of which you are using something which is banned in a competition. So the governments, the sports authorities have removed all his medals. They have, he has to give back everything. So that's the kind of derailment you will see. If I look at some of the other exams, Telgi scam, or maybe if I talk about, McKinsey, Rajat Gupta, if I look at each one of them, yes, people are from IIM Ahmedabad, or maybe people are from IITs. You might be really the most intelligent and made the most, or maybe on the corporate ladder. But if you are not integrated, one fine day, you will see your own derailment. There are a lot of experts, celebrities who are now drug addicts. Why? Is your success so difficult to digest for you? Why are you not able to handle your well-being? You got what I'm saying? Why are you always on alcohol? Or maybe why do you need some substance to numb your senses? We are on, human being, we are on the highest on the evolutionary cycle, right? Do you agree that? Do you agree to that? Yeah? We are on the highest as a human being. Human being is on the highest on the evolutionary cycle. And with this kind of an intelligence, why do you want to numb it? Because we don't know how to channelize it. People, when they have more time, they don't know what to do about it. So they watch OTT. You have Netflix, Sony Live. People are spending thousands and thousands of hours watching series. Is it not a criminal waste of our time? You got what I'm saying? Is it not a criminal waste of our time? Why are we watching all of that? You understand what I'm saying? Now you don't know what to do, you go watch a movie. You don't know what to do, you go shopping. You upgrade, you say, hey, I want to upgrade my car. I want to go into a mansion. Maybe I want to go into bungalow. Maybe I'll go on international vacations. So these things, these are small, small things, if we try to understand. And we talk about minimalism. How can we talk about minimalism and, sustainable solutions when things that we could do, we are not doing? So how does that happen? Yeah, as simple as, switching off the light, switching off the fan, or turning off the tap, or maybe, folding your blankets, or wearing clean clothes, organizing your room, or maybe cleaning your classroom. These are simple solutions for a better life. But are we investing that kind of a time, not thinking, why should I do this? Why should I clean my classroom? Why should I clean the blackboard? If each one of us start thinking, why should I? Instead, if you say, why should I not? Why can't I? So that is where your well-being happens, because everything that you do from then will be the well-being. Because in an environment which is already good, you are also part of it. Why will you not thrive? See, when the air is good, you are also breathing it, right? When the plants, when you the agriculture, if you use less of those pesticides and go for organic farming, Are you not eating? Are your children not eating? Are your parents not eating? So, how do you feel that? Only when you're connected to somebody. It comes when you start thinking that you are just not mother of your children. The day I changed my perspective, when I started doing inner engineering with Isha Foundation, with Sadhguru. So that is when he said one simple technique that you all have to do. He said, Sandeepa, don't be a mother to your children. Be a mother to the world. When you be a mother to the world, the way you handle, the way you conduct your life will be totally different. So I found, that's a very simple thing, but is it easy? Yes, it is easy. So we can make it a habit by being a mother to the world. I'm not saying whether you're a male or a female, no. I'm saying if you can be the mother to the world, that is where human well-being happens. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. I think in today's rat race, we forget about some of the more important things in life, and I think ma'am has told us about the importance of these things.
Now we would like to open the panel for discussion. If you guys have any questions from any specific speaker or in general, you can ask them. And as Srimati ma'am asked me to ask the first question, so I thought of it. And today we talked about education, literacy, making things possible, and knowing the world in general, like the company sir told us about. So my first question is, nowadays when we go for placements, we see people talking about two things. One is the technical skill and the other is the skill in general. So which do you think overpowers one another? Because some people are like, he knows technically everything, but he isn't smart enough. And other people are like, he's smart, but he's not technically acquired. So which one is more important? Anyone?
In fact, actually, very interesting question. First and foremost, if you are defined by your technical skill, then in my mind, actually, after 2 years, you are dead. It's as simple as that. Because technology is actually changing, especially if you're talking about technical skills. That's the reason why I said. Technology is actually changing so fast that if you go ahead and align yourself to, I am good in this particular technology, let me go ahead and look at it in terms of actually resolving it, then you're dead in actually 2 years. Whereas, if you have that inquisitiveness to be able to go ahead and define, identify, and then clearly define that particular problem and resolve it, it doesn't matter the domain, you will be able to go ahead and look at it in terms of actually resolving those. So clearly, both are important. It's not that actually technical skills are not, because when you step out and actually somebody is sitting and taking an interview for you, I'm sure they will go ahead and ask you something about specific technologies, but that's not everything. In a way, let me go ahead and actually also touch upon one another topic which Professor Kamakoti actually had gone ahead and created. Cross-disciplinary implementation of solutions are important. For example, today I talked about it in terms of actually a machine, and before a machine going down, we will be able to go ahead and identify whether something is going wrong with it. It's not something special, it's not something unique. It's the same thing which a doctor goes ahead and actually does to the patients. You go ahead and identify and follow the same clinical rhythm to be able to implement the solution. So cross-domain implementation of solutions are also important.
Yeah, just to continue on that, there's wisdom, and that wisdom should suit a crisis. These two are very important, right? So when you have a problem at hand, you should know how to solve it. So that comes from the what you call as the other skills, or somewhat what you say out of the box thinking. Okay, so this is something that we need to always cultivate. This out of the box thinking, along with technical skills, I think will make you a great professional. Will give you a very stable job. You will be almost indispensable to any organization that you belong to. Thank you.
So I'm into the business of platforms and products, basically.
I do pick up a lot of very bright engineers every year. I think what I look for in a person is to be a good conversationalist. I want conversations, engaging conversations. I think that's much needed when they come for any transformational projects or programs within any organization. I want people to dialogue, be good conversationalists. I think that's missing today, right? Not a chatter, but a conversationalist. Maybe that's what most of the genuine companies, especially for jobs where we are focusing a lot on innovation, we want good conversationalists. You know, many of us have traveled a long way. So possibly one or two questions will make us feel better if you believe there's someone going to ask questions from the audience. Yeah. Right, sir? There are hands. There are hands without mics. If you can stand up, the mic will come to you. There he is.
Hello. Hello. Good evening. I am Yojit Kaustup from UG1 CSA student, and I have a general question for the whole panel in general. In this world of, as all of you have mentioned, ChatGPT and all, what should be our motivation? Because it's evident that the ChatGPT and all the AI is able to do all our tasks very, very quickly. So what should we be striving towards? Because after 4 years, we have to do something, right? And by who knows, by that time, the AI might become more advanced and, surpass us even. So what's your use and what is our motivation now?
ChatGPT is a tool that gives you answer based on what is available in the literature across the world. It's not the end of story. For example, it failed in the physics paper JE. Okay, right? So I think there's a lot more hype that is attached to this. When it actually comes to real innovation, which is the topic of today, there's much more that we can do. For example, if you ask ChatGPT to give a circle in which split the circle into two parts, such that both the parts, none of the part is a semicircle. Suppose ask this question. Okay? Split a circle into two equal parts. Equal means area-wise equal.
Yes,
so that none of the part is a semicircle. Maybe it answers now, but it didn't answer when I asked it. Okay, so the most important thing is that when it comes to innovation, we are quite advanced. The human brain is much more advanced. And so let me just give you one more example that I borrow from a book called Deep Thinking. I think you should all get a copy of that book. This is by Kasparov. Kasparov is one person who can write about intervention of AI in his career, right? So his career was put into threat when the IBM Blue Gene actually bet him on the chess. So the question that he asked is that he entered a room where there was a rapid fire round. So there were 100 computers and one Kasparov moving around, moving the coins. The other question that he posed was, can 100 Kasparovs sit and one robo, can it move around and do the same work? The entire problem becomes extremely different, right? So ChatGPT is not anywhere. It can make some impact, it can make some dent, of course, but it's not going to change the entire world. You really have lot more to innovate in life, and I think those innovations have to go. So my general advice is that study well, understand the foundation. Don't say some pass some school file out actually became some great guy. That's 1 in trillion. Your foundations in technology have to be extremely strong. One of the things that for people, I think computer science, I'm sure we will be taught algorithms. One of the best book for algorithm is Corman, Leases and Reversed. It's a 1,200 page book. It has more than 400, 500 problems in the back. Every exercises at the back of every chapter. Work out every exercise. Read a book end to end. Become thorough. That is very, very important. There is no shortcut to that. And once you get into that mode, there are so many problems which I'm sure next 50 years, by the time you will also retire, ChatGPT cannot solve. And you have a very good life in front of it. But be thorough in your fundamentals. This is my strong advice to all the students. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening, sir. My question is especially for Kamakoti, sir.
Okay.
As we know, India is like very famous for all the resources, and we have the best technical minds.
Yes.
Like IIT Madras has developed Shakti, right?
Yes.
But we are still able to not compete with like brands like Snapdragon and Samsung, which are providing chips and processors. Like, what are the challenges we are facing? We have resources and the minds. Like, what are the challenges we are not able to compete with them?
See, before Atmanirbharta comes Atma Vishwas. Correct? You need to have confidence in yourself. That we have not developed. Big industries. What can IIT Madras do as an academic institution? In a short span of 1.5 years, we have made 3 chips of Shakti. One big guy from some part of the world called me and said, "Where are you going to manufacture this?" I said, the chip did work. So I called that fellow midnight and said, "Chip is working, I'm not retiring." Okay. So, and what can IIT type of environment, we have got, now we have announced this bar OS, which is an indigenous OS. We have now given proof of concept. It is for major industries like HCL and other people to trust in this and try to make products. Now only of late, many companies are trying to develop products in the country. Right? People have to invest that money and take it to completion. That Atma Vishwas is not coming. There is also a famous saying in Sanskrit, "Loko pujita pujita." Some fellow should say you are great. Then everybody will start saying you are great. That first fellow who says you are great, things will work, he will invest money. Today people say, no, startup companies make chips. When will the chip come? One single USB, you all know USB, right? I'm sure all of you know USB. That IP, if I want to put in a chip, just one short IP is close to $2 million. And it has to be characterized in a foundry. How will a startup company get $2 million only for the IP? After that, they have to make the entire chip and market. So for this, there needs to be a lot more of investment that comes. And that means there needs to be a lot more of risk. unless the major industry come out and believe in the Indian startups, invest money in them, grow them, live with them, and bring it up, India will be talking. I hope all these type of meetings and these campaigns that we do about Atmanirbharta will give this Atma Vishwas to people who have money to invest on our young startups and nurture that innovation. Today, for Shakti to really scale up, we need an investment of more than at least 500 crores. Some company has to put that. Make the mobile chip and give it to the world. Unless that happens, IIT Madras can only show proof of concept. So you understood? So what I am saying is, all of you become entrepreneurs. Do lot of things. Earn lot of money. Invest back. Trust India. Invest back in our youth. Monitor them. But invest. Right? And then pull it up. This is what is needed for our country today. So to sum up, Atma Vishwas is needed. By whom? On whom? By bigger industries, on the startups. Then India will succeed. I hope it will come. That is the mantra for the Amrit Kal.
Thanks a lot, sir.
I'm sorry, but I just want to tell you, I'm a computer science engineer. I know you're all 25 years or less, but I completed way back. My first job was actually in embedded C programming, trust me. Computer science, we had a bit of ECE, and computer science was called computer science. The way that ICT in India has come and shaped the whole IT world has just made us get away from the interdisciplinary. And I used to actually do programming to shake hands with the PLC and CNC machines. So that was a job of the computer science engineers those days. It's about how to make hardware and software to work together, right? Because of the lack of interdisciplinary focus, starting from education into the way that we are working today, the whole product engineering focus is gone, unfortunately. But if you go back and look at all the companies, be it Tata's, be it HCL, all companies were product companies. We were all engineering and R&D companies. That's how we started. This is the last 2 decades. A big transformation and a big jump has gone into IT, and we are coming back. Yes, sir. I think what we lost in 2 decades, we are trying to just get back in the next probably 5 to 6 years. You will see the change for sure.
Hello, sir. Earlier, Kamakoti sir mentioned this brilliant idea of going to a village and urging students to pursue education.
What's your name?
I'm Srikar, sir.
Okay. Yeah, continue.
Yeah, I work at an NGO where every Sunday morning we teach small kids English. And I struggle, like my problem is I want to go to a village and tell people to pursue education. But what do I do if the students themselves don't want to do productive things? Because I was at one point in 4th class, and my kids are just not in the class. They're not interested in. They don't want to do productive things and learn something new. How do I persuade kids like that to?
Yeah. So the interesting thing is today, can somebody define youth? How do you define youth? Definition of youth. Yourself, Srikar, yourself.
Anybody in the ages below 35?
The definition of youth. Definition of youth is I am always right, you are always wrong. Okay? That's definition of youth. So none of them would like to have advisors. None of them would like to adhere to something which others say. So go in their way. Okay? Start playing with them. Ask them what they want. So today the biggest problem that we are facing in the world today is specifically IITs, this JE advanced. The kid doesn't want to study, but the parents pour more pressure. By the time they finish JE, they get admitted to IITs, they are worn out. Okay? So instead of actually telling them what they should do, you go and do what they want to do. A very simple thing. Next time you go with chocolate. Okay? Some nice chocolate, not take some groundnut chocolate. Right? Which will not spoil their teeth. Start with that. Give them some groundnuts. Ask them what they want. Ask them what movie they saw. Unfortunately, that's very important nowadays. Ask them RRR or whatever she asked, right? Ask that, what madam told. So ask them what did they see, what do they want. Start, as what Srimati was saying, start the conversation. I think that is where you put. Right? I am also seeing, if I start talking without saying good evening and make you at least say back good evening, I think I am losing the connect. Correct? So first start that conversation. Slowly, that same RRR movie, that RRR movie, you can start telling in English. You are Telugu, If they start talking in Telugu, matladu, then you start slowly talking in English. The same story, and slowly you can bring it. So this is a very nice way by which you can bring the kids. Kids should like you. That Sunday morning, this fellow is coming, should not be the feel. Okay? They start welcoming you. So first take some groundnut cakes next time you go. First ask them what did they do in this week that was so close to their heart. What do they want? Start with some cricket bat, take some ball, bat. Play for 15-20 minutes. Ask them to tell the commentary in English. Slowly. So this is how people learned Hindi, right? Cricket commentary. I learned Hindi by cricket commentary. Okay? So this is how we should push it. Agree? Try it and send me an email. Yeah. Sure.
Very well said, sir. That is so true. Shrikar, at the foremost, I am very, very proud of you. I think everybody should give a big round of applause. He still did not enter the job market, and he already wants to contribute to our country, to the rural India, the less privileged. With that, let me give, I just want to continue on what Kamakoti sir was talking about. In my apartment complex, I stay in Bangalore. So I stay in an apartment complex of 560 flats, okay? So every Sunday we have a 1 hour session. You can sit, Shrikar, no problem. So we do a 1 hour session where we tell stories and all of that. So a lot of parents, there is people say our children are not rooted to our culture. There is something that we have to do for them. We have to teach them shlokas. They don't know anything. They don't know Ganapati shloka. They don't know Saraswati shloka. They don't know Gayatri shloka. A lot of things they don't know. They don't know when I say, who is this? If I say, maybe, and if I say who is Shakuntala, maybe they will say Samantha. You never know, right? And if I say who is Rama, maybe they will say Adi Purush Prabhas. So that's the kind of knowledge our children have. Can you do something about it? For the last 8 years, I'm saying 8 years, every Sunday we have a 1 hour session in our apartment complex for children where they all come on their own. They are actually looking forward for the session because the first 40 minutes of that 1 hour we only play. We only play team games, all team games where people are, exerting. They look forward to come and play. Then last 20 minutes is when we are teaching them, telling them stories of our epics. We are teaching them shlokas. If it is running for 8 years every Sunday and it is a working model, games, we have to go into their way and, make it work. It definitely will work. You can take board games, you can play chit games, or maybe, because it depends on what age you're actually addressing. Most of them, they don't, they're fed up of preaching, they're fed up of teaching. They come there just to play. So once they're extremely, physical exertion is over, then the mind, it gets calmer, more balanced, and then they can listen to what you're saying. And it is working. I'm saying for the last 8 years, if it is working in my complex, I'm talking about Bangalore, where those children, those 40 children are able to recite a lot of shlokas, which they otherwise would not have learnt anywhere, be it at their home or the international schools that they go to, which means it's working. So games are the only way. Thank you.
Hello. Thank you everyone for the questions. Now I would like to ask the student council to get ready to give the mementos.
Okay. Firstly, we have Dr. V. Kamakoti. I would request Sai Kiran Reddy, President of Student Life Council, to give him the memento.
Next we have Srimati Shiva Shankar ma'am. I request Sri Shivani Devi Neni, President Student Development Council, to present the memento.
Next, we have Krishnan Raman sir. I would request Tejas Ajay Par, Secretary of Student Life Council, to please present the memento.
Next we have Sandeepa Gunreddy. I would request Vishnupriya Thamina, Secretary Student Life Council, to please present the memento.
Next, we have Niveda Karthipan. I would request Satvika, Secretary of Student Life Council, to present the memento. Unfortunately, we have come to the end of a very nice session. So I'll pass on the mic to my friends Parth and Paridhi. Thank you. Thank you to the guests.
I request the volunteers to please escort the guests off the stage.
Excuse me, everyone. I request all of you to please come back and be seated. We'll proceed with the program shortly. I request all of you to please come and be seated. We'll proceed with the program shortly.
GDs, hello, GDs, Chabo.
Welcome to an emerging smart city that is fast becoming a springboard for sustainable growth and a hub for global industry. Welcome to SriCity, India's most preferred business destination. SriCity is developing into a vibrant social community due to its well-planned urban setting, use of clean energy, smart systems, and the integrated work, live, learn, play model. Located on the border of Andhra Pradesh with Tamil Nadu, 55 kilometers from Chennai, along National Highway, SriCity is connected to the major metros of India through the Golden Quadrilateral. Welcome to an emerging smart city that is fast becoming a springboard for sustainable growth and a hub for global industry. Welcome to SriCity, India's most preferred business destination. SriCity is developing into a vibrant social community due to its well-planned urban setting, use of clean energy, smart systems, and the integrated work, live, learn, play model. Located on the border of Andhra Pradesh with Tamil Nadu, 55 kilometers from Chennai, along National Highway, SriCity is connected to the major metros of India through the Golden Quadrilateral Highway network. SriCity is well connected to 2 international airports and 4 seaports, all within a 100-kilometer radius. A broad gauge railway line runs alongside the national highway, adding to the connectivity options of SriCity. SriCity's industrial zone comprises of a multi-product special economic zone, a domestic tariff zone, and a free trade and warehousing zone. The automotive cluster in SriCity includes Isuzu, Daiki, NHK Springs. And SriCity is also home to other Japanese majors like Toray, THK and Panasonic, to name a few. SriCity's electronics manufacturing cluster is fully approved by the Government of India as per the EMC scheme of 2012. Production Link Incentives, PLI, are also applicable for manufacturing items. Foxconn, the world's largest electronics manufacturer, and a host of other companies are operational within SriCity's EMC. More than 50,000 skilled and semi-skilled people currently work in SriCity. Apart from Isuzu and Foxconn, other conglomerates that employ a large workforce are FMCG giants Colgate-Palmolive and Unicharm, food and beverage majors such as PepsiCo, Cadbury, Kellogg's, Lavazza, Tata Foods and others, and industrial MNCs such as Kobelco, Alstom, Ball Corporation, Thermax and Metal One. To jumpstart operations efficiently, a dedicated 130,000 square feet business centre with all modern facilities is available. Ready-built factories are available for immediate start of operations. Companies whose requirements are more specific